Good evening again. We're glad that you're able to join us on this evening, and hopefully the information that you get will be very helpful as you're planning, as you and your students are planning for the transition into the high school. The first slide we see is an image, a graphic for Mr. Inman. He is the building principal. He again served at Pike High School since 2008 up to the present as our principal. And he also did serve as an administrator at New Augusta North. And again, he is here with us, but very supportive and a great individual to work with. And then we'll go actually to the next slide, I believe, for Mrs. Harmon.
Hello, everyone. It's so good to have you all on. I am one of the assistant principals at the high school, specifically in the freshman center. I'm also the school's 504 coordinator. So any students who have medical disabilities and are entitled to classroom accommodations, I oversee all 504s as well. I'm also a co-sponsor for a girls support group called STYLE, Strong, Talented Young Ladies Empowered. And I am one of the Building Equity Support Team members as well.
Once again, my name is Monte Tapplar. I also serve alongside Mrs. Harmon as an assistant principal in the freshman center. Prior to going into administration, I taught performing arts at Pike High School, which included choir, orchestra, theater, dance, and so forth. I also work with our positive behavior framework at the high school, monitor attendance, discipline, work with culture and climate assessments within the building, facilities. And then outside of that, I'm a parent of 3 children who also are in Pike Township and do enjoy watching not just my own biological children, but do enjoy watching students overall grow and develop, as well as our staff.
So I'm sure you'll want to know what a typical day is like coming from the middle school, which starts a lot later in the day. It will be very important to know that at Pike High School, we start at 7:15 a.m., meaning that that first period bell rings at 7:15, and your child is expected to be in class at that time. Buses usually arrive to school anywhere between 6:35 and 6:50 a.m. Buses dismiss at 6:55 a.m. and between 6:55 and about 7:10, students are able to go in and get breakfast in any of the cafeterias. There is a cafeteria for the freshman center as well as a cafeteria for the main campus. And at 7:12, a warning bell rings that allows students to know there's a 3-minute window to get to their first period class. I've also included a sample schedule. So prior to the start of school, you'll want to log into Skyward and take a look at your schedule. It has the number of periods that are there. We have a 7-period day, and it will show the class that that student has, as well as the room number and the teacher that they're assigned to. All of our lunches take place during 5th period. So 5th period is the longest period during the day. It begins at 11:04 a.m. and ends at 12:31 p.m. And that allows our students to go to lunch and our teachers to go to lunch in 3 blocks: A lunch, B lunch, and C lunch. So if your student has A lunch, they will report straight to the cafeteria, and then they'll return to class by 11:35, and they'll get out of class at 12:31. If they have B lunch, they will report to their classroom first, and then go to lunch and then return back to the classroom. If they have C lunch, they will start at 11:04 in their classroom, go all the way through 12 p.m., and then they will take all of their belongings with them to the cafeteria. On the first day of school, you do not need to worry about the lunch that they will have. They will report to 5th period. There's extra time built in for that, and those teachers will let them know their assigned lunch for the semester.
Okay, as far as academic expectations are concerned, most of our students will look at, I'd say, several different tracks, but to identify 3 of them, there's a core 40 diploma track, which students will earn 40 class credits. And that is definitely something different. As students are transitioning from middle school to high school, each student will earn and be expected to earn some form of a credit, and each class is worth a credit. And so the core 40 will speak towards 40 credits for graduation. There's also the academic honors diploma, which is based on 47 course credits throughout the 4-year history at the high school. And then also there's the technical honors diploma. I believe 47 credits is the expectation there, but it's more of a vocational program. And we do have a career center at Pike High School. And with that career center, students are able to work in those specific programs, which include culinary arts, barbering, cosmetology, our HVAC programming, criminal justice programming as well. And so that flows more into that technical honors diploma that students can also participate in. As far as course credits as well, we expect students to earn anywhere between 5 to 7 credits per semester. As Mrs. Harmon indicated earlier, there are 7 courses that a student will take throughout each semester. So at the end of a school year, we want our freshmen to have anywhere between 10 to 14 credits. If they do not earn at least 10 credits, it also is recommended that they participate in summer school, which is virtual. And we work with the Indiana Online Academy to complete those summer school courses. Students can take up to 2 classes over the summer. And again, that's an opportunity for students if they need to catch up and pick up credits they may have missed, over the year. And it's an opportunity for students to get ahead if they'd like to. There may be some courses they prefer to take over the summer rather than take them during the school year. And that opens up more room for them to be able to take other electives or other areas that they may find interesting. The grade point average also is important because students will be focusing on maintaining a healthy grade point average as they're preparing for post-secondary options as well. So 3.0 on up, that's something that will be ideal. But that is very important. Again, as we shared with students, it's not just about passing a class. We really want those students to pass the class with flying colors. So we don't want the students just to settle for a passing grade. We want to make sure that we're having some quality grades. So that's going to increase that GPA, which goes up to a 4.0 GPA scale. As far as resources, the guidance counselors are very helpful, very supportive to students, and also helping them develop which graduation track they're going to be going on. So parents, it's going to be important for you too to be in touch with the guidance counselors, not just freshman year, but throughout the 4-year high school career at Pike High School. You want to be in touch with them to make sure your child is on the right progression track, and also help to troubleshoot if there are any questions. Another form of resource is our 21st Century After School Learning Center. And this program is hosted at Pike High School. It's actually in our freshman center, and it's hosted after school from 2:30 to 5 p.m. And in this program, students can receive free tutoring from our own Pike High School staff, also a free snack, and limited bus transportation home. And what I mean by limited is that I believe about 60 students can sign up at a time to participate in that program. And so once they've reached capacity, it's those 60 who have signed up, they will get the opportunity to get a bus ride home. Some families may decide to pick up their student as well, but that's a great resource for families or students in particular if they're needing help in any classes, or if they need someone to check over their homework, or if they're just preparing for an upcoming assessment. That's going to be very important for them to take advantage of. And that will open up, typically it opens up, in August. We give students a few weeks to get themselves situated. Then that program opens in August and runs all the way through to the end of May. Study hall is a resource for students. Some students may take a full load, 7 classes, which would actually be 7 credits, but some may actually take 6 classes and then take a study hall. Or they may have a resource class if they're working in our exceptional learners department. Or they may also work in the learning center, which is another form of a guided study hall. But this is a great resource because it presents an opportunity for students to have that time if they need to catch up on homework or to work on any assignments. And it gives them just that wiggle room. And maybe for some, that may work better to have six classes as opposed to, six graded classes as opposed to seven graded classes that goes towards their GPA. But that's a conversation you'll also want to start having with your incoming freshmen to be determined how much they believe they'll be able to take on through each semester. And it's okay. If they take a study hall, that's just fine. It won't set them behind. If they decide to go the full seven classes and earn credit in each of those classes, that's fine as well. It's totally up to what you believe your student can handle.
All right, just to add on to what Mr. Tapplar has already shared, obviously you know about the Core 40 diploma. And that is the diploma that the state recognizes as the base diploma that we have here in the state of Indiana. And prior to the class of 2023, students had to pass the I-STEP or I-LEARN in order to be eligible for graduation. And we are so excited that that's no longer a requirement, that the state of Indiana's focus has shifted towards preparation for post-secondary school. And so now, in order to graduate, students must be on a graduation pathway. So the most ones that you've probably already heard of are the culinary arts, HVAC, EMT, CNA, cosmetology, barbering, and then there are additional pathways that are on the screen in front of you: banking and finance, office management. Students will actually take courses beginning as early as their freshman year, especially if they're, on a business track. They may have some electives that are geared towards that field. And some courses may actually begin starting their junior year, but they will earn a series of credits in order to get that particular certification. Also, if your student participates in the AP and Honors program, that is a pathway. If they participate in the International Baccalaureate program, that is also a pathway as well. If they choose to do a different pathway other than the career pathways, there are some additional expectations that are enclosed on the next slide. And so I wanted to make sure that this was here as a reference for you, because if you choose to get the Core 40 designation, academic honors, technical honors, or pursue the IB program, you will have to demonstrate, in addition to that, a project-based learning experience, a service-based learning experience, and a work-based learning experience. With the IB program, that is actually built into the program, so that meets that qualification. But also, you need to have earned a specific score or a benchmark for your ACT, SAT, or ASVAB, which is the required test for the armed services. And you can participate in a federally recognized apprenticeship or participate in any of the previous pathways that I mentioned earlier for the Career Technical Education Center. So any of these here will require you to follow all three of this. So not just one, but you have to do each step of this in order to meet the requirements for the graduation pathway.
Now we'll transition into socio-emotional preparation. We've definitely focused on the idea of academic expectations, and we also want students and families to be aware of the importance of the socio-emotional piece too. Self-awareness is going to be very important as students are transitioning into the high school arena, and self-efficacy is a big component of that. And that suggests that your student is able to identify quickly what he or she can do well. What is it that they feel very confident in achieving? It's going to be important to know one's strengths coming into the high school, and also be honest about areas that are in need of improvement. So for example, we were to ask students, can identify 3 to 5 strengths you possess. We really want students to be able to be thinking about that and really hone in on what they feel confident in terms of their abilities. So that's going to help them. That's going to help them build and mature more as they enter the high school. Resilience is another important piece as well. How well do students adjust if they run into failure, or if they make an error, or if something didn't turn out the way that they expected? Again, as we enter high school, we're trying to prepare them for a life and a world outside of the high school setting. And that resilience piece is going to be significant to them, so that, you know, if they do take an assessment and it didn't go the way they expected, what resources, what emotionally, how well equipped are they so they can be able to address maybe an assessment that didn't go well, but also know who to go to if they need some assistance, or also know, here are the other resources that I may need to look into so that I can do better when I take it again. Self-directed learning. Students are going to be coming into the high school. There's going to be more of an expectation for them to be able to take notes on their own, where it will not be a situation of students, this is where you want to take notes right now. That may not be that type of direction in each classroom. Students are going to have to be very much self-directed and knowing, you know what, I think I need to take notes for this class because this is one there's a lot of information that I need to know, and I may need to take notes, or I need to make sure that I have all the materials, or make sure I have all my equipment ready for these specific courses. And again, with that, it becomes more self-directed because the students are just very much aware of what they need or who they need to go to if they run into any challenges or barriers. So that's a conversation, again, that's going to be very important to have transitioning in. External supports, when we talk about resources, knowing who to go to, guidance counselors, a very great support system. Our social workers, we have 2 of them at the high school, and each of them very helpful in helping students when it comes to an emotional need piece there, or any other needs. They're very helpful. We also have Cummins Behavioral Health Services, and they're housed here in the high school. And families that are interested can let us know. We'll submit a referral, and then we can get that process going for students that may need that additional assistance. Accountability measures. Academic progress monitoring. Parents, you can help your child out in a great way by helping them to monitor their academic progress. And that suggests that we're not monitoring just as we end the near of the first quarter or the first 9 weeks. Just for example, as we're getting ready for report cards to come out, we're monitoring weekly. We're monitoring to make sure, are those assignments turned in? Do we have any missing assignments? Okay, if there's anything missing, who do you reach out to make sure that you're getting that information submitted in a timely manner? Just this past year, we also shared weekly homework checklists, which is a great focus tool for students as well, to prevent them from getting overwhelmed by assignments from not just 1, 2, or 3, but maybe 5, 6, or 7 classes all at once. And with that homework checklist, students were able to identify the assignments they needed to be able to take care of, and also identify, here's the due date. But for the student, they may decide, I'm going to turn that in sooner. This is the due date that the teacher has given to me, but I'm going to turn it in maybe a couple of days ahead of time, and it helps them stay on target. Proactive communication with teachers. Please encourage your students to reach out to teachers and be proactive, not reactive. After something has already occurred, get with them early. Hey, I'm having a hard time with this concept. Can you help me? Or, I'm going to be going to the Learning Center. Would you be able to come and help me out with this? Or when are you available to stay after school so we can work together? Or is there anything I can do to have more practice in this particular area? Self-enrichment means a lot, especially when teachers are being asked that of the students. What can I do to get better in this area? That we love hearing when students ask those questions, because it suggests to us that, once again, they're self-directed. We don't have to tell you, they're asking. And it also helps us to understand that they're really adamant about wanting to get better and demonstrate growth in a particular content area.
Okay, another academic expectation that you will definitely want to be keeping track of throughout your student's academic career, is reading that transcript and making sure that the student knows how to read it as well. So this is a sample transcript here for a student. I've, blocked off all of the confidential information, but this is a transcript of one of our graduates this year. And so you will see here that the courses that were taken each semester are listed. Some of your students may have already been working towards high school credit as an 8th grader, whether they were coming in for geometry or whether they were taking Spanish. And someone even asked in the chat as well about taking health early. And so if your student has taken any classes prior to the start of their high school career, you will see those credits listed right there with the 9th grade first semester credits. At the end of the semester, you'll see the total credits that have been earned, as well as the grade that was earned, and you will see the credit assigned for each class. It's important to note that honors classes, dual credit classes, those classes are weighted heavier. You can actually look in the academic planner, which is on the Pike High School guidance webpage, and you'll be able to see the specific weight that is assigned to those honors and AP and dual credit classes. You'll also be able to see the cumulative credits earned. So yes, even though the diploma, the academic honors diploma or IB diploma may only have just 47 credits that are required, your student can earn a lot more than 47 credits while they're here, especially if they're taking dual credit classes or earning college credit from AP courses.
Okay, preparing for Pike High School. And before we go any further, I'll pause. We certainly are aware this is a lot of information, and we certainly don't want to overwhelm you parents and or students who may be joining us. This information, again, will be available to each of you, and we also will be sharing our contact information. That contact information is in this PowerPoint. If you want to call us, we can give you some more information too. But we don't want to overwhelm you. The idea, hopefully, is to help give you information just to start thinking about, because you're not going to be finished hearing from us. Here we are in May. You're going to continue hearing from us probably as early as June, shortly after graduation, and especially into July, which brings us to our freshman orientation. We want students, we want families to get connected as soon as possible. Our freshman orientation will occur on, I believe it's Tuesday, July 27th. That will begin at 10 a.m. and endure until about 11:30 a.m. And during that freshman orientation, you will meet several of our staff members at Pike High School. We'll go into more detail about academics, about grooming code, just about the typical day, what our expectations are, what the students' rights and expectations are as well, and for parents. So that's something you may want to put on your calendar. But again, you're going to be hearing from us well after this session and more different occasions. Extracurricular, actually, let me go back to freshman orientation as well. We'll also have our registration on that day. So that's an opportunity as well. After we finish freshman orientation, students can then get a course list. They will not get their schedules. They will get a course list to get an idea of the classes they'll be taking, but we will not be indicating which teacher and or which classroom. None of that will be finalized, but you will get an idea of the courses your student will be taking. And we'll also take our ID pictures during that time. Another way to get connected is with our extracurricular clubs. We have over 60 different clubs at Pike High School, and that is an opportunity for students to find their niche and to connect as best as they possibly can. So your student should also be thinking about what he or she is into, what they find interesting, and even look on our website as early as this evening and start to see, are there clubs that match things that I'm interested in? Performing arts. We have a very strong performing arts program, and we encourage you, if you are still in either band, orchestra, choir, or have a theater or dance background, we'd encourage you to continue in that track going into high school. And that also is a graduation pathway as well. A performing arts graduation pathway. And if you're interested in that, that's also a conversation you want to have with your guidance counselor and or the department chairs at Pike High School, Andrew Stainbrook and Aaron Burkhart. They can help you in getting in touch or connected with that graduation track. Sports as well for any of our athletes or those just interested in trying something different going into the next year. These are great opportunities, once again, for your child to get connected. We want you to be informed, and we really encourage you to start looking at the student handbook. You can look at that now and start to identify, here is what Pike High School is all about. Here are the expectations. Here are very important events that are coming up, and or here are the rights my child has. Or if we're running into challenges, here is the course of action that is going to be taken. That's going to be very important for students to be able to look at and know in advance. Start asking your student what their personal learning style is as well, if you haven't already. That's very important. How do you learn? Are you an auditory learner? Are you visual? Are you an isolated learner? Are you hands-on? Are you kinesthetic? Do you like to move? And because that muscle memory, that's how you're able to learn concepts and information. That would be a great thing to start asking. So as students are examining their learning styles, they can communicate that with their teachers too. Because the goal is to teach students based upon how they learn and not do anything other than that. Finding out what their learning styles are and being able to accommodate and meet them where they are. Start thinking about personal strengths, areas of improvement, which we talked about earlier in the socio-emotional piece, and then anticipate any needs. What needs do you think you might have going into the high school? Parents, what needs do you think you might have? And then for students, start to establish an action plan. If there's areas where you know that there's more growth that can take place, start to develop that action plan to get oneself that much more prepared for the high school experience. And the last thing, in the midst of this this presentation, again, which we don't want to overwhelm you, we do want you to be encouraged. Be encouraged as you transition into high school. Some may be thinking, you know what, I may be the only one, or you know, this is all just new to me. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 900 plus students who are most likely thinking the same exact thing, and parents as well. There are a plethora of parents who may be thinking the same exact thing. We want you to be encouraged. And what we mean by that is we want you to reach out to us and ask if you have any questions, because we'll point you in the right direction.
All right, so some additional resources that I think you will find very helpful are Canvas. That is something that you may or may not have been using at the middle school level. We use it avidly at the high school level. And on Canvas, there is a student resource page. There's a student Canvas community where they can access their guidance counselors directly, library information, clubs and organizations, the College and Career Readiness Center. They can watch rebroadcasts of RGTV, which is our school news outlet that shows every day, each morning, as well as previous articles from our Pike High Life newspaper. The most important thing that I would say for you to know today in regards to the Pike High School student Canvas community is how to get to 21st century. Mr. Tapplar did talk about that earlier on in the presentation. And if you actually take a look, you can see the icon where students will register for 21st century after school learning center. They do have to actually go into Canvas and sign up to be a part of that each day. And that's something that's done daily. So that is directly on each student's Canvas page. Additionally, there are 2 additional resources, like I just mentioned, 21st Century, but we also have a partnership with Rose Holman, and we offer the Ask Rose Homework Hotline. I'm not sure if you remember this at the middle school level or not, or if they promoted this information. However, between the hours of 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., Sunday through Thursday, you can actually contact Rose Holman's homework hotline and get free math and science homework help. They have 120 tutors that are available. You can actually email chat with them, or you can call the hotline directly. But when you think about most people sitting at the kitchen table or sitting in their room working on their homework assignments late in the evening, if they get stuck, they can access the homework hotline through Rose Holman. So that is an amazing resource. I have found it useful for my high schooler. So we definitely want to make sure that we promote and share that with you as your student transitions to the high school.